Please welcome author of A World Gone Social, Mark Babbitt.
Thank you and good afternoon. I want to start by saying that giving an American of Irish descent a microphone on the stage and telling me he only has 30 minutes is a blatant misrepresentation of the facts. I'll do my best. I have these big numbers up here, so we'll work hard to stay on time. Especially for some of you, I know this is siesta time, and there was a lot of wine poured last night, so we'll do our best to keep everybody awake. So we're here to talk about social. And a lot of times when we start talking about social, the first thing our brains go to is social media. And I'm here to tell you it's so much more than that. And it's so much more than that for each one of us. So once upon a time, 5 years ago, I had this idea that I wanted to build a site for college students that mentored them, helped them move from the college world, the classroom, to the cubicle far more effectively than they were then. The recession had just hit. Resumes were dying, nobody was finding work, and we wanted to build a collection of mentors to help them cross that bridge. And we were going to work with career centers at universities to help make that happen. And about 6 weeks before we went live, we did a tour. We went to 30 different colleges, from Columbia, New York, to Stanford on the West Coast, to London, to Dublin. And we found out during that 6 weeks that the universities were broke. They didn't have any money. So our startup was dead in the water before we even started. And so my team went away for a weekend and said, what do we got? How do we solve this problem? We've invested a lot of money in our platform and the network. We've set a lot of expectations. And my marketing guy came back, a young guy, and said, I got it, Babbitt, we're gonna go blogging and we're gonna go social media. And I looked at him and said, great, let me know how that works out for you. Because I'm not doing that. Right, what I knew about social media, this is September 2010, was my teenagers on Facebook instead of doing their homework. Right, that's what I knew about social media. I didn't have a Facebook account. I had a LinkedIn account, no Facebook, no Twitter, nothing. So as I was spending two of my friends at lunch today, 3 months of fighting ensued, 3 months of arguing, before they finally convinced me to get on Twitter for 1 hour. It's called a Twitter chat. Anybody ever do a Twitter chat? No? Boy, I'm in trouble, huh? So Twitter chats are a whole bunch of people who get together, use one hashtag, and they talk about one subject for 60 minutes. Right? Sounds ridiculously stupid, doesn't it? All right, but I got on this. It was a career-related chat, perfect for this audience. And in that 60 minutes, I met 200 people from all over the world that I would have never met before. College students, professors, career advisors, MIT professors. I mean, everybody was on there, all trying to mentor young people toward having a better career and a better life. So I got off the Twitter chat, signed off, didn't even know how to sign off. They had to help me. My 23-year-old reverse mentor had to help me sign off. And I got an email out and I said, everybody in this company gets a Twitter account now, right now, do it now. And that's how we started growing the company. Not having any idea actually how to do it, but knowing that I had a 23-year-old mentor sitting next to me. Christina was her name, and she was amazing, and she walked me through the whole process. So the moral of that story is if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I didn't want to be a Twitter face. I was 50 years old, right? I'm not a kid, obviously not a kid, right? Social media is for kids, right? Wrong, absolutely wrong. Because here's what I learned. Social isn't about Twitter. It isn't about Facebook. It isn't about LinkedIn or Pinterest or Instagram. Social is a mindset. Social is now how many of us communicate. You just saw the video, right? We're all connected in some way or another. It's how we innovate. It's how we collaborate. It's how we work virtually. It's how we build new relationships. It's how we find new customers. It's how our customers communicate about us, right? It's out there. Every time somebody opts in, tweets, posts, likes, registers, buys, transacts, every time there's another little point of data out there. And all we have to do is listen. All we have to do is be aware that somebody out there, somewhere out there, somebody's talking about us, or our company, or one of our employees, or one of our products, right? Doesn't matter. B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. Somebody's talking about us. The only question is, are we listening? That's the mindset. All right, so my second startup ended in 2008 in not such a glorious fashion. We didn't get our last round of funding. Now, I wasn't actually one of the founders, but I came into it to help fix the group, and we didn't. We were unsuccessful at helping them. But right at the very end, last gasp effort, they brought a man named Bud. Bud was about this tall, Italian man, loudest man I ever knew in my life. But he had a mission, he had a purpose. And he was quite fiery as he was, and the fact that the F word came out of his mouth every 4 words, regardless of the context or who else was in the room, he was on a mission. And he would go every morning, he would go into the break room, 110 salespeople, and he would just sit there and pour coffee for people and talk to them, ask about their kids, ask about the dog, ask about their school, ask about how the day was yesterday, what's going to be different today. That's all he did. He just built relationships. Now, the previous CEO was very much an introvert and an engineer, like I am. And he didn't build any relationships. He didn't even attempt. He was the CEO. He lived up on the 7th floor. Everybody else lived on the 4th floor. 7th floor, floor to ceiling, windows. 4th floor, not a window in the entire floor. It was a dungeon, right? So the first thing Bud did was he started building these relationships, and he found out people really don't like working in a place where there's no windows. Surprise, right? And I watched this happen from the side, and I watched him change the culture and the climate of the company in about a week. After 3 years of fighting and struggling and clawing and this dungeon culture, in 1 week I saw him change it. People came in with a smile on their face. They look forward to walking in and getting their coffee in the morning. Right, so keep that in mind. As we talk about this, I labeled Bud a blue unicorn because he was that rare leader who actually cared about building relationships with not just employees, but his customers. So a friend of mine at IBM actually came up with this phrase quite some time ago. I said, what is it? He used it in a speech. I said, what is a blue unicorn? He said, it's so rare, it's not just a unicorn, it's a specific color of unicorn. That's how rare that leader is. So we coined that phrase, we put it in our book, and then we had to define it. And the first thing we defined as we talked to about 600 CEOs for the book is they had no concept what social media was, but they got what social was. Right? They knew that there's social and then there's media, right? There's building those relationships, there's caring about people, there's truly engaging, even though I know that's a big buzzword, but that's social. Media is what you do, most companies, most of us do when we're just blasting out information, right? Let's face it, anybody have a Twitter account? So you guys know, right? How many tweets do you see that are just crap, right? They're just selling stuff, right? Okay, that's social media. Social's a little bit different. All right, so that's step number one. Another big part, and this was brought up in early sessions today. Man, being a social leader, being a blue unicorn is all about active listening. It's amazing what happens when we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's amazing what happens when we use them proportionally, right? And let's face it, as leaders, as directors, as companies, as VPs, that's not how we were raised. It's not how we were taught, right? We were taught to be decisive and bold, maybe even a little bit loud, right? So active listening was definitely a trait. Anybody read Adam Grant's book called Give and Take? Okay, if not, it's worth writing down. If you guys are truly interested in this subject and you want to make a difference back at work and your home life, read Adam Grant's book, Give and Take. It puts people into 3 categories: givers, matchers, and takers. Now, we all know the takers. They're the people that just ask and ask and ask and ask and ask, but never give anything back, right? We might even be married to one of those, right? Matchers will do stuff for you, but only if they see something in it for them. That's Adam's theory. Givers are those people who will go out of their way to make you stronger, better, smarter, more informed. Right? Givers, matchers, and takers. Well, we talked to Adam when we wrote our book, and we said, we want to take it to another level because we're seeing this among these 600 CEOs that are blue unicorns. They just don't give. They are relentless in their giving. They're constantly sharing blog posts or more information or providing education for their employees or their teams. They're constantly giving to make everybody around them better and stronger. So we coined the phrase relentless givers. Here's the next most important thing. They understood that it wasn't just all about foo-foo, building relationships, la-di-da, I'm on Twitter, I have a new follower. Okay, return on investment still matters, and they get that, right? Ask Richard Branson of Virgin Group why he spends so much time on social. He will tell you to the penny how much money he makes an hour on social media. He has it down to that level, right? So it's not that we're just out there building relationships and now we're spending 90 minutes, 120 minutes a day on social media and we're just talking. We're actually doing it for a purpose. We're finding new employees. We're making our current employees feel better about their work. We're building better relationships with our customers. We're finding new customers. That's what happens when we care about both relationships and return on investment. All right, I love that video that just came up because it's a big part of this is what we call OPEN. OPEN is an acronym for Ordinary Person Extraordinary Network. And everybody with a phone, an iPad, a laptop, a device of any kind is a potential member of your extraordinary network. Everybody, right? And it's kind of refreshing because what this does is it opens a door. We no longer have to be the experts as leaders. We just have to know the experts. We just have to know who knows what we need to know, right? Sometimes we have to know what we don't know. That's the harder part, right? But if we really know the experts in all the fields and we get them all in the right room at the right time to solve a problem, absolute magic happens. Now that's quite a bit different than what we used to do as leaders, right? As leaders, we used to go out and say, look, we got a problem. Here's the problem. And Mary, you're going to do this, and John, you're going to do this, and Tom, you're going to do this. Report back to me when it's all done. We're going to fix this problem. Now, by getting the right people in the right room at the right time, we just sit down and go, here's our challenge. What do you got? What do you need? How can I help you? Then get the hell out of the way. Just watch what happens. Because the people that you've already hired, because you trusted them to do a good job, are going to do a good job. And when they feel that autonomy from you, when they feel empowered by you to make decisions and make recommendations, boy, I'm not kidding, the magic happens. So that was a big deal. So in a sense, we become not chief marketing officer or VP or even CEO. We become chief facilitation officer. We get the right people in the right room at the right time. And then, like I said, we just get out of the way. So here, we're going to do a little exercise right now, very quickly. We're going to put you guys to work. I know nobody said there'd be homework, but we're going to put you to work just a little bit. All right? Everybody has a pencil and paper in front of them? All right? You guys are supply chain. Your business is vases. You know, like we put flowers in, vases, vases. But sales are a little slow. So without talking to your neighbor, I want you to design me, just on a piece of paper, a new vase, a marketable, repeatable, scalable vase, right? Take about 30 seconds. Draw me your best vase. Some of you are looking around going, I cannot draw. This is not going to happen. All right, who's got something they're really proud of already? Wait, really? Confident man. All right, so you go first. I want everybody else to do the same thing. Take what you just draw, wrinkle it up, and throw it away because it sucks. But it doesn't suck because of your drawing ability or your imagination. It sucks because I didn't ask you the right question. I have a business that's struggling. I probably don't need another vase. What kind of vase has never been designed before, right? What I really want, is I want you to design me a better way to enjoy flowers in the home, right? That's a much different question, right? We don't ask this question. We say, damn, we need a new vase, right? So next stage 2 of the exercise, maybe do it by rows if you don't mind. I want everybody to collaborate with their neighbors, open your minds, work in groups of 3 or 4, and very quickly design me a better way to enjoy flowers in the home. You only have about a minute, because I only have 30, you only get a minute of it, so. I know I'm rushing you, but we'll take like 20 more seconds. Okay, this time I mean it. Who's got something? What group in that short amount of time has something that they really, really love? Who thought of something really cool? I saw that. What'd you come up with? No, you went like this. What? Yes? What'd your group come up with? Nice. See, that's different than designing another stupid vase, right? Right? Now, we do this with college students all the time. They actually came up with a product. They built a product. Black Hills State University in South Dakota in America built a product that sends a signal to your phone to tell you that your plants and your flowers need water. They've already sold 14,000 units. Pretty cool, right? They didn't need a new vase. They just needed to we just needed to open their brains a little bit. All right, so that's the difference. That's the difference between standard traditional leadership and social leadership. All right, so what's the real benefit of this? How can you guys go back and say, great, that all sounds fine, but what does it really mean? How does it really help me? So here's what we found as we were going through all these companies that had truly social leaders. One, they already had brand champions. And because everybody under 35, it seems, stereotype I know, but it seems to be true, is always on social media talking about your company, your products, your brand, why not have your champions out there working for you? Why not have them saying nice things about your company? Why not have your customers be your best advocates? All right, the other thing that happened in this scenario, the design me a vase versus design me a better way to enjoy flowers in the home, is it completely gets us out of twatty syndrome, which is the way we've always done it. Now, I know you guys never think like that at work, and I know you don't work with anybody who thinks like that, but it happens, right? We get kind of bogged down in how our company works and how we work and how our department works, and we fail to innovate. All right, when that happens, we certainly build a more collaborative climate. I know you had just a few seconds, but did it feel different actually talking it out? Right? Over a long period of time, the ideas get bigger and better and bolder and more innovative. All right, we also get to share the learning experiences. And then we get to take this to other teams, other departments, and let them see how this worked for us. We get to live by example. And finally, especially we found in B2B businesses, we started developing customers for life with a social mindset. People would rather stay with us, even though we might have got outbid, or somebody could deliver in a short amount of time. We had relationships that mattered. Nobody wanted to leave. They believed in us. They believed in me. They believed in that person, right? So customers for life are a huge aspect of this. Now here's the most important aspect. We live in what we call the testimonial economy, right? At least in North America, and I saw this morning here too, nobody goes to that new Mexican restaurant in town without going to Yelp first, right? Nobody buys a car without going online to see what all the other buyers of that same car thought, right? That's testimonial economy. So what especially the digital natives have learned is they no longer have to listen to us. They don't have to listen to our marketing or our selling or our pitch. They just go find out from an objective source what they think, right? So what we do when we say about us, that's just marketing or selling. And especially the younger generations, they know that. What others say about us, that's our brand, that's our culture, that's our status. That's what we stand for, right? And it could be something as simple as, wow, this company really got ripped on Yelp, and they didn't even bother to answer. So it must be true, right? On the other hand, if you get a negative review, and we all do, you answer in a very thought-provoking manner, you really put some thought into how you're going to fix the problem, you offered to help, boom, now you're the good guy again, right? All in a span of about 22 seconds on Yelp.com. Okay, very important. So as you're building your new employee base, as you're trying to retain your best employees, as you're trying to find new customers, they're all doing this. Your new employees are checking you out. Your new customers are checking you out. If you don't have a great relationship with a customer and they find a new company, they get pitched by a new company, they're checking you out and they're checking them out. Testimonial economy. Here's who really cares about this. Anybody that doesn't anticipate in hiring anybody under 35 for the next 10 years? Nobody. They care about this. This is millennial generation. Gen Z is right behind them now. This is the first generation that ever gave themselves permission to enjoy their work and to believe in brands and to do something other than just make profits. They care about social leadership. So if you ever want to hire one of these guys, we might want to drift with this change just a little bit. All right, so how do we do this? Well, first of all, we certainly have a new era, new expectations. We talked about lunch today. It's almost like there's a whole different age that's occurred. Call it the digital age, call it the social age, call it whatever you want. It's almost as impactful as when the farmers left the farms to go to the factories to work. It's almost that monumental. We are working in a completely different way now than we were 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Everything has changed. We heard about some of this in Valentine's discussion earlier this morning. It's coming. It's already here. Question is, are we paying attention? Are we listening? Are we joining the conversation? All right, really simple. You have to in this situation, you have to champion the good and mitigate the bad. There are all kinds of free tools out there. Get TweetDeck, it's free. Put your company name in there, the hashtags, the keywords, your executives. It shows you in columns everybody who's talking about you, your company, your executives, your brands, your competitors. It's free and takes about 20 minutes a day. TweetDeck.com, free. Now there's bigger packages, Radian 6, there's a whole bunch of them. You can set up a whole social media command center if you want. Don't have to. Just hire an intern and have them watch TweetDeck, and you'll know everybody who's talking about your company. When you see something bad, squish it. Have somebody from your company, the CEO, you, anybody, go, I see we caused you some frustration, just want you to know I got this. DM me your email address, DM me your cell phone, we got this. Boom, problem solved. It's that simple. All right, you have to prevent or remove the ugly, because again, you're going to get the negative reviews. That's just the way the world works, right? But if you answer, you're good. You have to beware of the social lynch mob. We've all heard the stories about the CEO who does something that wasn't that smart in that moment, and then the whole company, and he gets fired, and the whole company has to restructure, right? Unfortunately, the downside of social media is it doesn't take much to start a cause. Right? Change.org petitions, Twitter. Look at Cecil the Lion. Great example, right? That poor dentist we talked about today is going to have to completely change his life. Right? Now, what he did was amazingly stupid, right, in today's age. But the social lynch mob, we're talking 14 million tweets in 24 hours about Cecil the Lion. Right? Amazing. And finally, you have to embrace the challenge. And I like this little guy. Does he look scared of you guys? Not at all, right? He's looking at this is fun, right? People don't like to have change happen at them or for them. You have to want to be part of the change. All right, a big part of this too is you have to hire for the culture you want to be proud of 3 years ago. Maybe your company's not yet ready, or your department, or your team of 4, not ready to try social leadership. But what's it going to look like 3 years from now? Right? Hire with social competency in mind, and you're going to quickly reduce the learning curve. And please realize that sometimes attrition is your best friend. As you guys start to embrace this change that Valentine and the doctor and everybody else has talked about today, you're going to find some people just don't embrace this. They don't want to be a part of this. Let them go work somewhere else, because they're going to drag you down. Okay, one of the lines I use all the time is no trolls, no drama queens, no divas, no takers, no fakers, no assholes. Right? That's how I run my companies. All right? If you nothing else, live by that, and you're gonna be much better off. All right, very quickly, here's some examples of companies that are embracing the social age and social leadership. KLM, $25 million in additional sales just from social listening. A small career center in their headquarters, $25 million. CVS Caremark completely restored their reputation by doing one thing: they stopped selling cigarettes. Because how can you be the store that cares about your health and you're selling cigarettes? Right? That was the theory. And Conway, in your pattern, 5 years ago, a long time ago, Conway said, you know what? We're going to start tweeting about our trucks that are not full. And we're going to, through Twitter, we're going to find brokers and drivers, and we're going to help fill those trucks up. 5 years ago, they started that. Right? Amazing. Pioneers. All right, so how do we do this? How do we actually move? Well, first of all, we have to accept the responsibility. The leaders in this room have to accept responsibility to lead your companies, your departments, your teams into the social age. You have to choose to be part of the era. Again, nobody wants change happening to them or forced upon them, right? We all get defensive. We all react negatively. We have to obliterate our own comfort zones. Let's face it, most of what I talked about for the last 26 minutes it's not what I was taught in business school. It's not what my mentors taught me 30 years ago. It's not how I was taught to lead. This is all different. And we have to strive to be a blue unicorn. You have to lead by example. If you want to change your team, you have to be the person out in front. Okay. Questions for me? We have a few minutes left, right? A few, yes? Questions, comments, thoughts? Even if it's, you are so full of it. This is not going to happen at my company. Anything? Oh, yes. Oh. Cindy, is that you?
It is.
I thought about you today because Conway, I thought there's somebody out there with a truckload of bass clarinets that are not moving.
Well, when we were talking last night, we were talking about how easy it is to mess up a tweet. And you mentioned today that if you get the negative publicity or whatever, you need to address it right away. Just maybe curious if you could talk about how you train your customers to do a good tweet and what, kind of what the rules are if we're going to start using this. What are some good practices for how to construct a good tweet?
That's a great question. When we help companies build this pattern, what you just described, we focus on values and purpose. Other than making money, what do we stand for? And as a tweet you're about to send, help us reinforce that purpose, that vision, that value. And if it doesn't, walk away. Don't hit the send button. Okay, that's so important because one rogue tweet can ruin an entire reputation. We've seen it over and over, personal and corporate. Right, so it's all about values and purpose, and frankly, it's all about hiring the right people. Because if you get somebody that's a hothead, has no emotional intelligence, and you give them the password to your Twitter account or your Facebook account or your LinkedIn account, that's a hiring mistake. Right, so trust is a huge part of this. Great question, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on these shared service centers popping up all over the place with hundreds of young people that are trying to trend messaging in social media to sway consumers one way or the other?
Well, here's what's funny. That's a great question. In phase one of social media, we could get away with that. We cared about hashtags, number of tweets, number of followers. number of likes, right? That's how we build metrics for social media. Now we know none of that matters. Because you can have 1 million Twitter followers, and if none of them are talking to you, it doesn't matter. It's a big echo chamber, right? So we're self-selecting. Those spammers, the fakers, the takers, the assholes, I'm enunciating, I hope carefully, assholes. The people who ask for something and they've never met you, you guys ever get an email like that? I work in the career space. Oh, I read your blog post. I have a 3-page resume. Could you proof this for me? No. Right? So we're filtering, we're self-filtering out the people that are just spamming and manipulating, and you'll see it. As you guys get more and more involved with Twitter, you'll see more examples of that, but it used to be way up here, and now it's shifting. So there are still centers who do nothing but that. They'll sell you 10,000 followers on Fiverr.com, right? They'll still do that, but it's not real. There's no return on investment on that at all. Right. Anybody else? One more. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you can give us a little insight into the speed at which you're seeing this change. I mean, I know that in the last 3 to 5 years we've seen a lot of it accelerate, but I'm just interested in what your vision of it the next 3 to 5 years is going to be like.
It's a little dramatic, but it's a great question. It's a little dramatic, but here's how we tackled that problem in the book. None of us were around then, but 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs were in really good shape. They were having a good day. And then that damn asteroid hit and ruined everything. That's how fast this is happening to us. This social age is only 5, 6, 7 years old. And it's already completely changed how we think. There are billions and billions of data points out there just waiting to be heard. So there's stuff we're not even close to capturing yet. But now, as Valentine said earlier, we're going to get into predictive analysis. We're going to get into decision making. We're going to identify trends before they happen, right? This is coming at us so fast that if we don't get into it right now, 5 years from now, we might be considered laggards, even though it just started really 5, 6, 7 years ago. This is an entirely new age of business, fellas. This is a big deal. Great question. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.